To the Squeaky married Mike and a married Laurent. It is Friday, October 8th. In this episode, Arsenal and Spurs are doomed and they didn't even play. The Nations League is fun. But first, Mike, you're married and you're back.
I am. It's good to be back.
You are in charge. I'm 2 episodes in. What do you want to talk about, my friend?
Well, no, first of all, those were pretty good episodes. Not going to lie. I enjoyed them. I had 18 fucking hours to drive back down to Florida this week. So I listened to both of them. It's good to be back. It's good to be home. But I mean, it was really good to see you. Really. This is the first time since 2016. I think I saw you. So about 5 years, 5.5. It was so good to give you a hug.
Hey.
The first time I've seen you since we started the show, which is kind of crazy. But no, it was overwhelming to have.
I'm surprised you didn't cry. I would have cried. All right.
Cry. So I will admit that as she was coming down, and it was kind of funny. My aunt was in like the 5th row. As she's coming down the aisle, she looks at me. She's like, "He's crying," and I went, and I like snorted one back into my eye. And I went, "No, I'm not."
I cried at my wedding when I saw the Puerto Ricans, and all I could think about was my dead uncle who wasn't there. It was weird.
It was almost uncomfortable, like being in that room, being showered with so much love, and her family is amazing and huge and fucking crazy. So I knew that they'd be a lot of fun. And my guys on my side are, I know that my family, my friends, guys, like I heard you were at a pretty fun table. I heard one of our buddies who listens to the show, Mike O'Connell, was telling me how much fun he was having at his table. So no, it was a great night. And at the end of it, I went back and had sex for the very first time ever.
Wow, that's very Catholic of you. Good for you.
Yeah. First time ever. Never did it before.
14 I hope you seconds. Had some Viagra because there were a lot of things flying around in the meals.
No, it was awesome.
Did you wrap your penis in filet mignon? Because there was a lot of that going around.
There's a lot of filet mignon. It was big portions. No, it was
real fire hydrants worth of.
It was good. I don't
we're
think
doing dick jokes. We're downgrading to dick. Good.
I don't think there were any football references at the wedding. Chelsea Dagger played for the entrances. That's a London thing, but not really. That wasn't the inspiration for it. But
no,
it was an unforgettable night.
But let's go back. We haven't got your take on the doom that was Spurs, and then the out of the blue performance of against Aston Villa. I thought that was incredible. I don't know how much you watched, but
I did watch that whole game.
I was like, what the fuck? I just bet against this team.
I heard about that.
And they showed up. Like Sonny was like, I got this.
I didn't get to see any of Liverpool City, and I still haven't even caught the highlights, but I've heard all about it. I read all about it. I just didn't get to see it yet.
It was good.
But yeah, I watched really the whole Spurs match before I was on the road. I don't even fucking know where I was on Sunday. Very interesting. I heard you talking a lot about Eric Dyer, and I don't disagree, but
he's the one who's got to go. He's been
better than last season. In fact, when we won 3 games, he was one of the backbones.
Weak link, right?
Sure.
He's the weak link that they have to protect.
Well, yeah.
And so it makes you sit the 2 deep, right? And you have to be counterattacking. If he was better at defending in space, you wouldn't need him to be there.
So whether it's him or it's Sanchez, and by the way, I was thinking about the show before, and I was like, we're not going to talk about Tottenham because it's an international break, but I guess not.
No, I mean we can talk about whatever. We're free.
I was excited. I was like, I don't know. Everybody's who's listening is like, I don't want to fucking hear about Tottenham, but sorry guys.
I wanted to hear about Tottenham because I lost. I was like, that was the surest bet of Aston Villa like kicking on and taking out Spurs, and they just didn't.
Friend of the show, BJ, followed you on that, and he was very upset. So I was kind of laughing at your expense.
Well, now that I know, I'm going to take more responsibility on that.
Yeah. People listen to you. You have real power. Don't tail my college football bets because that was the only unhappy part of last weekend. I got my
Spurs, but now I'm all over the place. My favorite player in the league is going to jail, maybe.
Oh,
my friend Yves Bissouma. So my top 10 bet for Brighton is in trouble
because he's going to be a big loss, and I think apparently I saw it was like sexual assault.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it could be being black in England might be one of the calls. I'm sure he did something that wasn't right.
Well,
It doesn't look good for Benjamin Mendy and Yves Bissouma. So there is something called Prison FC that someone is collating all the players who get arrested and disappear. It's a pretty good side at this point.
Yeah, they're playing them on FIFA because
Yeah,
they
it's
figure the
pretty good.
chemistry will work because they're playing in
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
penal
yeah.
league. You know,
There are some really bad dudes in there. Like Rubinho is like raped a 14-year-old, which
and
is
you got
really
Adam
bad.
Johnson.
Adam Johnson. My team had a pair of real winners. I mean, these are bad dudes, and I really hope that Basimo didn't do that. But I mean, granted, I don't know him. I just know him from watching him play, and I really loved him. And he was really making my boys in Brighton go, who had an incredible performance against Spurs. I mean, against Arsenal, did everything but score. They put the whoop on them, but now they're in trouble. Like,
is that like classically Brighton? Is that like
no,
like Spursy is a thing? Is that like Brighton-y?
There is no Brighton-y.
That's it though, isn't it? Like we dominated you and we had 2 shots on target and it was a 0-0 draw. Like I feel like, or we lost in the last 5 minutes, right? Like
yeah, but they had a reverse of their XG from last season. Like they've been getting lucky, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That was a good old Brighton game.
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it was last season's Brighton game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then we should probably talk about our other friends, the East West, the Brentford. The Brentford Love Fest is now like turned up to 12. Like everyone's in.
We told you.
I was on that shit.
Yeah, we told you early on about Brentford. I'm in love.
I knew, man.
Let me dial it back. Let me close the book on Spurs, and we will stop talking about them for the rest of the episode. But
yeah,
you were saying so if you put Sanchez in for Dyer.
Not Sanchez. I'm saying Rodon.
Either way. But let's pretend that's not a weak link. Whoever you want to put in.
Because he was so good against Crystal Palace, and then he's gone.
Now with Emerson, and you don't have Tanganga, so you're not like that lopsided. You're literally basically just saying both fullbacks, just go. Right? Forget defense. We've got the 2 center backs. We've got Højbjerg sitting there. We've got Skip sitting there, who, by the way, I did shout out Skip at the beginning of the year.
He's good.
He's fantastic. So you basically are sitting there. You're open to the counter down the wings, I suppose, but like you're putting so much pressure on them, and you've gotten Ndombele for hopefully 60-70 minutes before he gets uninterested. And then
he was good.
Son is on another planet right now, so he might be the best player not named Salah in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, the issue City players always have is like when you do these best 11s, they don't play enough, so they never get. There's so many good players on City.
Right.
It's like the hockey team that runs 4 lines deep and no one ever scores all the points. Like, yeah, we have a guys just for like 5 different lines. We can just do whatever.
Yep.
And you're like, was that team good? Because you're trying to like get historical context, but they're awesome, right? Exactly. You're just like, this team's ridiculous. What do you mean?
The team that they left off, it's like, oh, they could beat the Americans, no problem.
I did some hockey research. I was looking at Kucherov today. Kucherov, the guy from Tampa. Kucherov.
Oh, Kucherov
missed the season. Yeah, I was excited by him because ESPN now has a magazine. It has a magazine show on hockey with Mark Messier as a co-host.
Great. Quick tidbit on Kucherov. He missed all last season with hip surgery.
As a scam, right?
It was on IR so that he could be on the salary cap. They were like 20 million over the salary cap last year. Not 20, like 12. And then he shows up game 1 of the playoffs. He's like, I feel great.
Hey,
most points in the playoffs. He's an unbelievable player. But
yeah,
anyway.
By the way, that's what's going to happen in NBA. Like players are just going to not show up and be like, "Hey, I'm showing up for the playoffs."
Yeah.
These sports with useless regular seasons, there's no reason to play.
Yeah, I agree
at all. Like 0. Anyway, so
this is your international break show.
Yeah, we're getting loose. We're getting loose. The big news is Newcastle's Saudi purchase finally occurring. It had been blocked for all sorts of bullshit reasons. The real reason was money, right? The real reason was that beIN Sports, which is the #1 international rights purchaser of the Premier League, which is based in Qatar, I believe, was blocked in Saudi Arabia and actively and intentionally pirated. And so beIN was like, no, they cannot buy a team. We're going to block it. So the television provider blocked the sale of a team. That's literally what happened. Okay, let's just be clear that that's what happened. And then the other piece was there was some modicum of ass covering by the Premier League to say, this team is not run by the Saudi government, but is definitely run by the Saudi government's investment company.
Yeah.
Not the
It's
government.
it's a guy who's so rich he also owns a country, right? Like
Yeah.
that's basically what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So the Sovereign Wealth Fund that invests the Saudi oil money for the royal family is separate from the government of Saudi Arabia, because that is how the Premier League got around their own rules of fit and fair, because they don't really want murderers to buy teams. But the company wasn't a murderer, so it's okay.
But they let Roman Abramovich have a team.
Well, it's not clear if he's a murderer, but he might be a murderer.
It's just Russian.
Murdering.
He's just Russian for murderer.
Right. So that's my thing, right? So
yeah,
a couple of things that keep coming up. There is this notion of sport washing that came up from Miguel Delaney, who just has like a personal war vendetta against City. First of all, sports washing is a bad idea. Like, if you want to clean up your country's act and make it look like a clean, squeaky clean thing, don't buy a Premier League team.
Buy a newspaper.
Exactly. That's
a newspaper.
Yeah. Like what Jeff Bezos is doing, that's some fucking sports washing. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't see him buying teams. He bought the Washington Post, right? Yeah. Oh, he's so good. He kept it alive. Because every fan is going to be against your team and remind the world that you're a scumbag who kills people. Like, if he thought that shutting up Khashoggi was the way to fucking be like, you know what? Let's have some Turks chop that motherfucker up and put him in a suitcase. By the way, that really happened. This is some real shit. He worked for the Washington Post, so Jeff Bezos' guy got killed. This is some like Gabriel Principeship, like 3rd century shit. This is real Islam shit. I'm like hardcore with swords. They chopped him up and put him in a bag, in a box, and now he disappeared. But now they covered that up, and the United States has actually said that the new owner of Newcastle is a war criminal and killed this person and whatever, human rights, blah, blah, blah. And now he owns the team. And the Premier League was like, well, it's not him, it's his company, so it's okay.
Right.
That's where we are. Now, the money difference is City were rich at 24 billion. This sovereign wealth fund is 300 billion.
Yeah.
That's like, you know,
it's
the Milky Way
cities.
It's 12 cities. Now, I don't think they can't,
cities.
Right? They can't spend all that money at once. City got in under the line before financial fair play. They're going to have to do some creative, Arab airline type sponsorship deals that increase the revenue of the team.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They're going to have 18 months before they increase revenues dramatically through sponsorships and whatever else, which you could almost argue they're going to get a cut rate deal on whoever these sponsors coming in are. This is how they're going to pitch it to them, right? Because it's like, look, idiot, I have 300 billion to spend on this fucking football club. Get in now for the price I'm giving you.
$100 million.
What I'm telling you is you get in for the price I'm giving you now. I'm going to go full guinea on everybody. Listen, buddy, I'm making you an offer here. It's you're going to get in, and this name is going to be synonymous with every trophy in world football. Right. So you're going to have your name is going to be right next to the Champions League trophy, the Premier League trophy, the FA Cup, all that stuff. You are going to be everywhere. Right. The same way Etihad Airways is.
You're going to take down all those Sports Direct signs that Mike Ashley had been using for free. Well, free. How much advertising did he get for that for every time
I know what Sports Direct is?
On? Yeah, I never knew what it was. It's basically it's garbage. It's fantastic. It's
shit. Well, no, not even Fanatics. It's shit. I actually bought something from there for Christmas. It's shit Models because I've been in a few of them. It's terrible, but
it's a bum. It's a shithole.
Yeah,
and Models is out of business, so Mike Ashley will probably disappear as well.
Exactly.
So but for the Newcastle fan, I'm going to look directly in the camera and tell you what you're going to need to do. You are now going to have to defend the Saudi Arabian royal family and talk about oil and learn all the fucking weird shit about your team's owners, because that's the shit that's going to come at you from now until forever. Get ready, because as a Manchester City fan, whatever you do will never count. Whenever you win the league, it won't matter. You'll always be oil. You'll be new schmassel. And Liverpool and Manchester United and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich will have done it the right way, and your history, whatever it was, Alan Shearer, will no longer matter. It'll only
That's the
matter
thing.
that you were owned by a Saudi prince.
So
Sorry.
2 takeaways for me. That it's they're sort of a former power that fell on hard times, right?
Okay, let's step back. They were never a real power. So there is a, sorry, let me back up a little. I'll give a little history lesson. The reason that team has fame is because in the early years of the Premier League, they had a famous side that went toe-to-toe with United and lost. Right? It was one season under Kevin Keegan, and is a famous interview, and it gets replayed over and over again. It's him going, "I would love it. I would love it." And he's freaking out. And that's when I don't understand the context of why that was bad. It's just that he freaked out in an interview, and he's just like, "I would love to beat them." And that was the end of it. Then they sort of slipped down a little bit. They have a period where they're kind of lame and kind of weak. Then the world famous coach, Sir Bobby Robson, gets a hold of them, famous for actually having managed Barcelona. Really good documentary, worth watching. I think it's on Amazon, about Bobby Robson. He was the manager of England in 1990. He manages Barcelona. He brings Jose Mourinho is his protege. He's from the Bobby Robson tree. He was his translator. And he brings a little bit of class and sort of keeps Newcastle United in line in the early 2000s. And then they decline. Mike Ashley buys them, and it's 13 years of bottom of the table relegations, 2 relegations over the 12-year period. They have one super duper weird fluky season where they finish 5th because Jabril Cisse and Demba Ba go fucking bananas and score 20 goals between them as January transfers. Which is insane. So they are a big club. They are the way those Northeast clubs, the way Sunderland is a big club and gets a show. Newcastle has literally a show called the Geordie Shore. So they, to give you a sense of where they are. But now they are owned by a sovereign wealth fund. And be happy, Newcastle fans. Enjoy it.
I'm torn on it. I don't dislike it. It's just,
well, for Spurs and Arsenal, it's a disaster.
Yeah, well, but for the whole league, for the Villas, for everybody, for the Brentfords, right? Like everybody, it's bad news. And I don't want to say, like, I'm not against the idea of better competition, right? And the way that we talk about Burnley, how they never spend the money, Newcastle's a lot like that, right? Like they haven't really.
They had a cheap owner, cut rate owner,
very very cheap owner. So pocketing the Premier League money. So fine. I'm not against if Newcastle were to start spending money and Newcastle were to come back into the, call it, top half conversation, if you will. If they were Villa.
It's going to be fucking hard.
But no. But what I'm saying is if they were to do that with the resources that they have now, which wouldn't be that difficult, by the way, to get from where they are to like 11, 12 is what I'm saying.
They got to 12th with Rafa.
But Rafa, right? Like that was mostly him. But what I'm saying is like Rafa didn't want to stay. He's like, fuck this. That was so miserable doing that.
He should go back though.
You've got one of the most exciting players in the league. If you put players around him, in St. Maximin, obviously. But if you just you have pieces there. But now
there are pieces, yeah, for sure. They'll get replaced. But yeah.
It's the thing that put me off was that exact number you said before, where it was literally 12 times the richest. It was like Roman Abramovich and Shiehk Mansour and all of the ownership groups.
It's a fuck ton of money.
It's not even funny. And
yeah,
I don't know. It just, it feels dirty. And the other thing was,
it is dirty.
They only, and this is going to sound weird too, they only spent 400 million on the team, which
300.
Thank you, 300. I think I was
400 US. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I was looking at dollars.
Yeah, I was doing pounds.
300 pounds.
Yeah, it's cheap.
3 million pounds. That's cheap for a team with St. James's Park, all that. And
considering MLS teams cost 800 million.
That's what I mean. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I don't understand valuations in England either. I think it's because of relegation. that they can.
Oh,
And
it's the
I just
risk of
don't
it.
think
Absolutely.
I don't think they generate as much revenue. The seats are relatively cheap. There's only the 38 dates. They can't just gouge fans, because the difference I think they have is this sort of discussion we've been having and sort of talk about a lot, is they have a third estate, right? US sports are really just between the owner and the TV, and the fans just get fucked, and it doesn't matter. Very, very rarely is there a fan protest that functions. Like, the only one I can think of that worked, where the fans literally kicked the owner out, was the Charlotte Hornets, I think. Like, and he didn't even sell the team. He moved, right? He was like, "Oh, these people hate me. I'm moving." Right? So I don't.
Oh, in
Can
the
you think of
U.S.
an
you mean?
in the
Yeah.
U.S. where fans got a guy out?
Donald Sterling's a unique case,
That
but
is a unique case. But it was after 35 years, and the league
what
took
about
the team from
the
him.
Reds? Was that Marge Schott?
She stayed for decades.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Right? So you can have, and the owners don't really have control over it, right? The league can control it and decide. But in England, you do have to deal with fans as an estate, because they will fucking hammer you and show up at your house and organize protests. And the Newcastle fans have been trying to get this team sold from Mike Ashley for 10 years, at least 10. They hate him. He's loathed.
And so, yeah, like I said, I'm happy for the Newcastle fans because they're likable enough, and I don't have anything against them necessarily. They're from all the way in bumfuck up there. Like, why would I have any problem with them as a Tottenham supporter?
Sting is from Newcastle.
That's right. But it just feels like they got what they deserved, the fans, and they got a little extra too. They got about 300 billion extra, excuse me. I missed a zero. I don't know, man.
The thing that I think about is, now I'm on like year 40 of sports, right? Like, I'm 5, maybe started watching sports. Sports are always in decline, ending, and it's always the end of the world, right? Free agency is going to destroy baseball. If we have a draft, it'll destroy baseball. If we do this, it'll destroy this. The strike is going to destroy baseball. The players make too much money. It's thug basketball.
Ironically, baseball is what's killing baseball.
Right. But they're probably making more revenue than they ever did. The leagues are always crying poor, and that they're going to go under, and that the old days were the better days, right? And you hear this with the Premier League all the time. And there is fear, and it is a lot of money, that their success of being literally the biggest league in the world. And now they're just like starting to eat other leagues now. They're just like way bigger. Like, I think the pandemic has really damaged their only competition for players, which was Barca and Real. Now the Premier League, like the 10th team in the Premier League, has more money than every team in France and every team in Spain. Like, they can buy almost on the level with Real Madrid or Barcelona right now. Like, when I see rumors that Raheem Sterling's going to go to Barcelona, I'm like, what are you fucking kidding me?
Why?
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No one's going to Barcelona. They're done. Like, Barcelona right now should be like calling this fucking Shiehk guy and be like, my G, we got players, man. Let's see if we can rip you off, right? So one of the things that I think about with this money thing that I was talking about earlier is just like, the Premier League essentially at this point has so much money, it's funding all the other leagues. Like, what I'm saying is that this money that comes in is just going to filter out into Europe. They should be fucking stoked, right? The German teams that are cranking out American players that they buy for $1 million and sell for 10, or buy for 10 and sell for 40, or buy for 40 and sell for 120 should just be like, let us get a hold of some players. We're going to sell them to fucking Newcastle. That's going to be our new cash cow. And now the price of Holland's price just went through the roof. All these players must be like, this is fucking fantastic. We're going to kill it. Right?
Harry Kane to Newcastle.
Harry Kane to he's over the moon right now. He's like, I don't have to fucking go. Who's going to be the coach? I'm ready. We're going to hire Pochettino. Oh, you want to fire him?
They're going to hire Pochettino.
Let's go. Right? Go. I mean, it's the money doesn't like it's like energy, right? It goes somewhere. They're not putting it in their pocket. They're going to spend, and that's going to fund growth across Europe. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe it's American thinking. I'm not even going to think about the fucking cultural stuff. Like, hey, England, you're literally the biggest colonizer in the world and caused all the problems that are in the world. Don't talk to me about fucking human rights abuses. Okay, shut the fuck up. right? Ooh, you know what? Shut up, okay? Tell me about the fucking coal miners who couldn't breathe and how Margaret Thatcher destroyed the country. Shut the fuck up, okay? Self-inflicted Brexit wound. Come on, get out of here. Just that's dumb. Like, I can't deal with like one country calling another country bad. I'm like, what do you think drone strikes are?
Right.
That's Khashoggi times countries,
Yeah.
right?
The,
We
I- the
kill
ivory
people all the
towers.
time.
The
But
ivory towers are just so
yeah. Like,
ironic.
what do people think drone strikes are? Like when they say
Yeah.
the U.S. launched 500 drone strikes, that's at least 500 dead people,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's not one journalist. Maybe we should just kill one journalist at a time. Robert Acosta, I'm watching you, you fucker. Right? Like, so I mean, not that it's right or wrong, or we should live in some chaos society, but who's calling who moral? I mean,
Yeah, who are you to say? Right.
right, exactly. Like, anyway.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
fair.
so it's exciting. I think it's good. I think it just puts the Premier League there'll be a left and a right to this. Not a left and a right, but there'll be fan people that are like, this is amazing. And then there'll be the sanctimonious people in The Guardian like Miguel Delaney and Barry Glendenning who just hammer it as sport washing and whatever. Yes, England should be happy that the Premier League exists. It's literally the only reason anyone knows England matters anymore.
Yeah,
like if
no,
it
that's
weren't for the
true.
Premier League, who would give a shit about England? Nobody. Right?
Yeah, no, you're
I mean,
absolutely
it'd be like, Adele. No, fuck off.
right.
So thank God for that. There are games going on. I was very, very excited about the Nations League games today. So I have a bigger thing about it, right? They made it so that these friendlies didn't suck and they kind of didn't have anything. And I think when you force big countries to play each other and put something on the line, they show up.
Yeah.
Like Italy, Spain was like, Spain is not fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
Ferran Torres, apparently City has a striker. We just didn't play him as one.
Whose restaurant did they go to after the game?
What? What are you talking about?
So Spain won in Milan.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if I can remember who it is, but I'll try and look it up. They went to a famous Italian player's restaurant to celebrate the win.
Oh, right on. Totti in Rome?
No.
They're in Juve. They were in Turin. So Spain and France are set up for a final. Belgium, we pour one out for them. They are never winning anything. Not with Vertonghen and Alderweireld in the back.
Man.
With Dedrick Boyata and flying wingbacks. And again, another one that I think about is, are we sure Roberto Martinez is a good coach?
No, I'm pretty sure he's not. Like, I don't understand why. Like, all right, so put it this way. When it was, I don't know, like those 4 years over the summer where Tottenham didn't have a head coach and they were talking to Roberto Martinez, I was like, maybe we could just have a player coach. Maybe we just fucking let Harry Kane do it. Like,
yeah, I don't think he's good.
He's terrible.
I don't think he's a winning coach. He's like a shit Eddie Howe with better PR.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he won the FA Cup with Wigan, and then he had one good. He won,
he had
but he got relegated.
Generation.
What?
He had a golden generation of.
But I think he did. It's just like he. Yeah, but it's this idea that the thing with Pep, the thing with Arteta, this philosophically being married to an attacking style. When you're like, my two best defenders are both 35 years old, and my next defender is Vermaelen. Like, what are you doing? And Vincent Kompany, and like the timing of it was all off. Like, they really should have won in 18 and didn't. Maybe that was their last window, or maybe even 14.
I was
the
going to say the Euros.
Yeah, but they had a window there in 16 and 18. I think was probably their best shots, especially after De Bruyne got the time with Guardiola, where it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. He's now elevated himself, but they're gonna miss and not have won anything and just been a high FIFA ranked team. Because one thing we know is defense in these tournaments matters. Like, yeah, you can play attacking styles, but what did Italy do when they had to win that fucking thing? They put Chiellini and Bonucci in defense and they went to war, right? What does France do with all the great attacking players? They fucking sit deep and hit you on the counter. When you're in these tournaments and you want to win as a country, you have to defend. And Alderweireld and Vertonghen, as good as they've been, they were good in 2015, right? That was their peak season, 15-16 for you
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah.
When
Yep.
you were
I mean,
plus. I looked
right,
it up
so
the other
that would
day.
be
How did you lose at plus 66 goal difference? Must
what's
have
all
kicked
we just I
fucking
prefer to
ass.
say we didn't win more than we lost.
Was that the Chelsea season? Was that the Conte season?
Yeah, somebody fucking
That
tell me,
that
please.
Conte team was really good. Anyway, you don't get a trophy for that, unfortunately. That was your league, and you didn't get it. So there's that. There's Nations League. There's the U.S. playing a qualifier today. They got that done. They beat Jamaica.
They
And we
did.
have Pepe doing well. Apparently, I missed that there was a giant fight between LAFC and LA Galaxy. Fans had a brawl at the Trafico. That's called here in the West Coast a picnic, a public park with cholos. That just happens all the time.
Right, I was gonna say
I know that sounds terrible, but I have checked in with my Chicano friends who are from LA, and I'm like, yeah, that looks about right. That just was a regular sort of drunk brawl. Happens at Dodger games every other day in the parking lot. That just happens. It just was a little bit amplified, so that's not too bad. It doesn't have anything to do with Mexicans. I'm just saying it for fucking effect. I don't want to get Dave Chappelle fucking attacked by the
I hope we do. I hope we get big enough to be attacked like Chappelle.
I watched it. It's really fucking funny.
I'm gonna watch it on Saturday. I can't wait.
It's really fucking funny.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to laughing.
It's half woke. It's half woke and then half not woke. So it's got a little bit of both.
I'm sure he sets him up and knocks him down. I'm not worried.
He's a fucking legend. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
I have to look at my sheet here. That's all I've got. We probably have to talk about Joe.
So let me talk about Joe because I mean, like we said, I'm coming back from. So for those that don't know, the reason I was missing for a week, not just because I was getting married, but was because I was driving to and from Florida to New York and back, spending some time with family, spending some time in hotels along the way. So there's a lot, I mean, eating out and all that stuff. There's a lot of silly expenses, shit with the dog. So my friend Joe, you know him by now, at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. Really, I talked to him. I was like, look, this fucking wedding is so expensive, blah, 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 blah. Where can I kind of cut corners a little bit on the way to and from, right? I was like, look, we're already pot committed to a bunch of this shit, the photographer and the flowers and whatever. But where can I basically try and, find an easier way to do it on the way up? So instead of going to the swanky hotel with my missus to be and the puppy, we found, some what was it, Hilton Garden Inns, shall we say, and so just like some cheaper ways to kind of figure out, easier ways to kind of do the same things we were doing just for a little bit, smarter, right? And that's really just an example. We're scratching the surface of the stuff that he offers. That's common sense. Mike, you shouldn't need Joe from Attitude of Gratitude Consulting to do that. You're an idiot. That's all true. But the way that he works with us with future planning and stuff like that. I mean, we're talking about potentially having kids. I know. Could you imagine another one of me in the fucking world? But things like that where my life got really real in the last 10 days. And Joe's been there the whole time talking to me through, what the next steps are going to be and how to get there. So do me a personal favor. Go to attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com. You'll see his number right there. Give him a call. Tell him we sent you. And he'll be like, oh, those morons. Yes, us morons. He's a great guy. And I would feel confident having you put your trust in him the same way myself and Laurent have done. So one more time, attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com. I meant to do that.
That was a long read, Mike. I really went for it. It was feeling. It was deep. We made it to a half an hour.
I have a feeling in that one. So it's the international.
Yeah, no, that's great.
We don't know what the fuck is going on.
We have to talk about, and I missed it. I meant it was in the description of my bets last week. So I let everyone down, and I have to apologize deeply. So I had Villa money line against Spurs, and Villa had their and aside from even though Spurs did beat City, they really shouldn't have. It was a goodish performance. This was Spurs' best performance. They played well. I thought, the way Villa had been playing, I thought plus 250 money line. Sure, I'll do that. Okay, no problem. Then I took the draw on Wolves Newcastle because they had drawn the last 6 times they played. I did my fucking research. That was plus 315. I felt good on that one. I was like, yes, this is going to happen. I feel incredible. Then I had Everton plus 625 to win in Old Trafford, and that bitch fucking Tom Davies decided to pass it. I was so fucking close on that one. I was feeling it. I have this new betting philosophy. I'm like, take whoever's playing United at home for a draw or win when the coach in your heart is a better coach. So like
you can do the draw, like double chance, if you will, like a win or draw.
I should have done it, but I was feeling frisky. I had it as a draw, and then I changed it last second into money line.
Your interests, like your knowledge, I should say, is like what you're missing is the betting acumen, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Like
the game
where you can go into that with the game within the game. Essentially, you're like, okay, this is probably going to happen in one of these two ways. You could get fucked on a call or whatever happens, but
I had a parlay too. The parlay was good too. Let me just finish the parlay. I had Burnley, Chelsea, and Leeds, which almost hit, but fucking Burnley couldn't beat Norwich at home.
Oh, Burnley.
That would have saved me at plus 330. I took all really good favorites.
See, that's what I'm saying. If you, especially in parlays, if you do a couple of double chance on parlays, you've literally doubled your odds of winning. You know, the payout won't be that great, but if it's a parlay, you're still coming out on top anyway. So
I know. I look at all those Aka crackers that the English have. They have like the weirdest ones though. There's 3 cards, 2 shots, a ham sandwich, and Spurs winning. 1 to 500. You're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. But listen, I'm doing it for fun. I still think I'm up, but I'm 5-14, but I'm plus 200 in the money on $10 bets. So, I'm still up, but my record is bad. But if you stick with me, I think I'll hit on those. I think betting against United is really the way to go.
Hashtag fade Ole.
Yeah, like especially like really good coaches. You're just like, he's gonna get beat. Like, Villarreal, when they play them at home, they're gonna beat them easy. Like, he's got to go away to Villarreal. They're gonna get murdered.
Yeah,
they almost lost. They almost gave up 4 goals. So yeah, fade Ole for sure. That is my recommendation. Not when they play big teams though. When they don't have they show up. Especially because it's more of an instinctive time to play. But if they have to break somebody down, like if they play Brentford, Brentford's gonna fucking light them up.
I'm excited for that.
Can you see Mbeumo on the break? I can. Oh God!
I can see him. I can see him hitting a baby in the head in the fucking 20th row.
Can you see Ivan Toney just muscling Lindelof? Like, just get the fuck out of here.
That's something I can see. That's my problem though. That's my problem with Brentford is that I just don't believe in Mbeumo, and he scares the shit out of me.
He's gonna miss. He misses chances.
He has fucked me before, and I've gotten burned on that. So,
but now we've got Wisa pulling out those draws and wins off the bench.
Yeah,
fucking legends.
Yeah. So, all right, let me ask you this: going back to Newcastle.
Oh boy, Thomas Frank for Newcastle.
Oh, dude, seriously. That's what I was gonna say. Like, actually, so you've seen the video of Griezmann playing Football Manager, right? And he's sitting there and he's managing Newcastle. And I think he looks over at it wasn't Mbappe. It was Mbappe because it was during the Euros. And he turns to him, he goes, I just bought you for 140 million pounds. He's like, oh, cool. Where did I go? He's like, Newcastle. Like, that shit's gonna happen now. You know?
I do wonder if so there's it's so much open speculation. Like, they literally have, like, Steve Bruce is dead man walking. He's gonna get fired tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who do they bring in? Like, that is the first signal. Do they go with like Conte? You know what I mean? Is it gonna be Conte and they just let him buy players? But I don't think they can do it that way because he needs specific types of players to make it work. Do they try and go like siege mentality Mourinho, or is he good with Roma right now? Like, Or do they try and build something and really, try and work from there? Or does Rafa just really fucking pull a Liverpool and really stab at Everton and just like, yo, fuck you, I'm going back? That would be amazing. They'd hate him forever. He would never be able to go back to Liverpool ever again as a city.
So, all right, you have to look at it this way because he might get sacked, but like they're not going to bring in the guy tomorrow, right? Like they're going to January at the earliest, but like they're going to wait until a Tuchel.
They're in the relegation zone, dude. They need a real coach now. They're too good to be this bad.
They need a coach who can keep Big Sam for the end of the season.
No.
Seriously, think about this. They need somebody who's going to keep them in the league. If we're under any illusions that come, June, everybody's going to be given their walking papers aside from St. Maximin, the back staff, everybody fucking gone, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, they're going to hire up. They're not going to be getting rid of people. They're going to be adding, right? Because
they're going to do both.
Right, they're running on a skeleton crew right now, right? There's nobody there.
Right,
they don't have any
but they're just going to bring in. They're going to bring in similar to how City did. Like they'll have like that executive football board, if you will, and they'll run everything. They'll be given unlimited funds for all of the support staff that we've talked about on the show.
I think the infrastructure piece is like before they buy a player, they can spend $100 million, right?
Right, absolutely,
right. And that's the part that's interesting. Do they hire whoever the Theo Epstein is of the world,
exactly,
right? Like to build out a full system? Do they go to Barnsley and actually literally hire Billy Bean? He's on the board of Barnsley. Like, do they go down that route? Are they looking at the Moneyball world? Do they go to Tony Bloom? Do they fucking raid Brentford and just go, what? What do you guys do? We're just going to take all your guys. That's what I would do.
We're taking Tony and we're taking Frank and the GenElt kid and everybody else have fun being really good stats darlings. But we're going to take a couple of headline players and the coach. I genuinely think Thomas Frank is not going to be coaching Brentford next year. And I think that it's going to be because
or will it be something
happen.
like
Spurs?
The other one is like, is it Brendan Rodgers? Does Brendan Rodgers want to be like part? It feels really Rodgers-y to be like, I'm going to go to Newcastle and be like the first big buy, so he can. It's like an ego thing. Like I'm going to save Newcastle, and then the dominoes fall. Then Potter goes to Leicester. Frank goes. Then the things start moving around.
Let's put this in City terms, right?
Mark Hughes didn't get fired for a while.
Right.
When they took over. It took him a year or two.
Exactly.
Because he was playing okay.
That's not going to happen with Steve Bruce. But what I'm saying is let's go 6 months down the line, right? So we're at 8 months down the line. We're at the end of the season. Jesus, the season is long. You're looking at, a new manager, like I said, all the backroom staff. But realistically, how soon did the players start coming in for City? Was it immediate in the first window? Was the first summer window, or is it like kind of, because
I don't remember. There were guys that came in just before the takeover. So Zabaleta and company are literally bought that summer in 2008, and the buyers come in the winter because Srinivasan, they have a criminal tie guy who's a loser. And it's actually the same woman who brokered this deal, brokered that deal. So it's the same, that woman, I don't remember her name, but she's involved with both these deals. But the first purchase was Robinho as a splash. They're like, we're here, it's cool. And it's like $40 million. He comes from Real, and he thinks that he signed for Manchester United, but he signed for Manchester City because he didn't know. And he's the rapist who's in jail now.
Right. And that's the guy that Sir Alex was mad about, right?
Yeah. Noisy neighbors. Yeah.
So that's what I'm. Look, we talk about it all the time too. One major signing is not going to make this team a European contender, right? They're going to have to build.
They got a long way to go.
I mean, look, are they going to go absolutely buck wild next summer? Yeah, probably. Right. But like, especially.
It was September 1st, last day of the window. They got Robinho went to City.
But
in 2008.
So I'm just curious I'm actually really interested to see how the next 18 months go for Newcastle, because I want to see how their money sort of starts to manifest itself. But it will, like I said, all right, for their sake, I hope it starts with the backroom staff, some mild stadium improvements, things like that, where like that doesn't count as financial fair play, right?
Nope.
Like you can do all that shit, which is, it's sort of weird how they write it, but it's hollow by nature. That's how I see this kind of playing out first. Like, look, build the bedrock, build the foundation, then start to put, what did Pochettino always say? You've built a beautiful house, but you always have to have new furniture in it too, right? So you don't have the house yet. So build the house and then stock it with as much fancy shit as you can, which is an unlimited amount. But I want to see them take that approach. And I'm not sure if they will.
So I'm just looking at the first window of Shiehk Mansour was 173 million out.
Which
in
you mean
not 29 out, 179 million,
wait,
173 million in.
Let's put that in today's terms. 500 easy.
Yeah. Well, right? It's also different. There was no FFP.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is the market, the player prices, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean
that didn't really spike. What, Bale was 100 million 4 years later?
Yeah.
Right?
No. Bale, 2013, 4 years later.
So, I mean, you're talking about players who the tippy top end of guys were going for 35, 40, right? Whereas today they're going for 150, 200.
The windows are crazy. It's 173, then 162, then 201, then 100. So that's 3 windows. They just fucking poured $500 million in players in.
Right. And again, in a time when nobody else was, which is so important.
I mean, basically they do 100 to 200 every year. Oh my God. The first year of Pep, they did 300 million.
Yeah. No, but again, we have to really give scale and context, because all right, you're looking at cities, right? I was going to say, pull up the 2009 transfer in net spend, I guess, for the Premier League. And that will really give the scale, because it has to be, if what is 162 or whatever you said?
It's a crazy, the net spend for the league, no one's even close.
That's what I'm saying. I would guess that the next team is at 75.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the big one that completely transforms the team is Mancini's first in 10-11. It's Dzeko, Torre, Balotelli, Silva, Korolev, Milner, and Boateng. That's a pretty good window.
Right.
Plus tons of other kids.
All right, here's a good one. Here's a good bet. Over under 350 million for Newcastle's first summer window.
I don't think they can do that. I don't think that they can spend that much money, because it has to be in line with where the revenue is. So I don't know what there's essentially a soft cap. I don't know if they care or how FFP is working right now. They can't spend more than they bring in. So we know that each team gets something like 180 million, I think, from the Premier League. I think this is some fucking crazy number like that. Mm-hmm. Plus, and we know they don't have any debt, right? Because they're well run, right? The team has not incurred any debt, so they can probably do that kind of. They can probably do 100 million easy, because that's what Villa did. They can probably do 100, maybe 200 if they're lucky, but it all depends on the revenue.
Well, Villa did 100 because they made 100 on Grealish.
Right. Well, but I mean, before that, when they came up, they spent a ton as well, right?
Oh,
they brought in Watkins, and they brought in a bunch of dudes. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works, but it's going to be fascinating. This is what I mean. Like, this is an injection of a new narrative, right? Like, it was getting a little stale with City and Liverpool and Man United kicking when they're down, and the attempted rise of can Spurs and Arsenal, sort of, was Pochettino the reason for Spurs, or can they get back onto the ladder of European? Can Arsenal get back to where they were? Are they really just that decline from 2004 is real and they never got out of it? It's really what happened. Mm-hmm. And is Leicester now getting stuck? Do they need to change this? And then, you have the ambitious teams that are lower than that group. I feel like Villa, Brentford is there. I think Villa, Brentford, Brighton, these are all teams that really want to be in the top 10 and expect to be there.
Well,
And
and punch
Wolves a
above their
couple years
weight,
ago,
right?
and Wolves a couple years ago too, were sort of like,
Yeah.
hey, they've got a good owner that they're pushing for. So there's a handful of teams on the way up and a handful on the way down, and we still have the yearly jeopardy of 3 teams go down, 3 teams come up.
Yeah.
And somebody has to go, right?
Yeah,
So
but you're right. It's sort of stale in the sense that like the best team in the league this year cares more about the Champions League than the Premier League, and Chelsea cares more about the Premier League than Champions League. So aside from those narratives, I guess you could say, I mean, we have been wanting for a new challenger, if you will, right? Like we haven't gotten it, and it's partly because City and Liverpool have pulled so far away. But this doesn't do it overnight, but you will see over the next 5 years that Newcastle will be in the European spots, which, as we alluded to at the top of the show, is bad news bears for Spurs, for Arsenal,
will
for
they?
Leicester.
It's the thing that makes I think this is the piece that it's somewhat forgotten. I think
Challenging.
the
I didn't say they'd be in them.
No. There's only 5 spots, 6 spots.
Yeah.
Well, there's 7, right?
7 if you count that. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it.
Anyway, let's not talk about that. But there's really 5 spots, right? Or 6.
Yeah.
Right? 2 Europas and 4 Champions League.
Yeah.
And there's going to be now not a big 6, but 7 teams for those 6 spots, and that doesn't even mean, and that doesn't account for gate crashers like Leicester and Aston Villa who are trying. And I put money on West Ham. I mean, West Ham, they're for sale, by the way. That's another one.
Jeff Bezos. Don't you fuck me, Jeff Bezos.
Those nerds, they don't even get it, man. It needs to be. That's the thing. It's always the sort of sovereign wealth fund people. The thing that's funny is like you look at the other wealth is like some of these people are really rich and don't spend any money. Like the Cronkies could really be like, we got this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Arsenal do spend a lot of money, but it's all relative to whatever. Anyway, Mike, let's wrap this up. We could chat about this kind of stuff forever, but this is the stuff I love. I missed you tremendously. And that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mr. Mike Salerno and Mr. Laurent Courtines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple, please review the show so we can have more people listening. We are growing, and we need you to grow like a penis.